All right. Hello, everyone. Whoever everyone is that watches this, I'm definitely going to post this on YouTube when I get around to figuring out how to do that. Welcome to the stream today. While I was at work, I ran across an instance where I needed to use get rebase, but keep the merge commits around. If you've ever used an interactive get rebase, it by default throws away the merge commits, and that would have made my life more painful. So I learned how to use the rebase-merges option today. And so I wanted to stream putting together an example of that. So I can write up a post that will illustrate it. But I have to make a new example because I can't use, the private work repo that I came across. So usually I prefer to just rebase on a project. But in this specific project, we take the approach of doing a merge commit when a branch is merged into a feature branch, so that's easier to revert those later. I didn't make up that convention, I just roll with it. So throughout today then, or throughout this stream, I'm going to make up an example that will roughly simulate that. I won't do any of it on the master branch because I generally try to stay away from playing with Git on the master branch. So let's see how I can get this scene set up to make it the best for playing with Git. So I'm using the Windows subsystem for Linux, which I have not customized at all, which means in this instance that I'm going to try and blow it up as much as I can. And I will need to keep a file open so I can edit that and get some commits going. I'll probably just do the README. And then I'll have the source control plugin over here. I don't think there's a way to make this any bigger, but right now I'm on the master branch. If there's anyone in the chat that can tell me if I need to make this bigger, I would appreciate that. But we're going to make a new branch and call it feature rebase this. Alright, we're going to go ahead and push that branch to Git to see how that goes. Alright, so we have our Git status, so we are on this branch. It is, I don't remember the fancy tree command for git log, but there is a way to do it. I usually just use GitHub, which I can pull up. So we have GitHub here, and here's that repo that I just threw up the branch on. And then I want to say, these that used to have like a network tab. It's not branches. Insights maybe? Network. Yeah, so master and my feature branch are both pointing to the same spot. So we'll come back to this as we need to. That's not what I wanted to do. So we've got our repo here. And we'll see what I can make happen here. So the first thing that we'll probably want to do is make a commit. So sample text. So we've got our sample text, make a commit real quick, add a starting commit branch. So now we have a commit on the branch, so pulling up our network graph that we're going to use a lot of here. Hope you update in live. So here we go. So now we have a commit here. So I master, once add feature, rebase this with a starting commit on the branch. Okay, so now we will make yet another branch. And I usually use checkout for this, even though I probably should use branch. And so say we're just doing a quick fix. So with this quick fix, we will add a period. And commit that proper execution. So we push that branch up, and hopefully that shows up here. So we have feature rebase this, and then J and quick fix. Okay? So those two branches are not at all connected. So say I throw up a pull request for that, which I actually will do here. J and quick fix this. So we want to merge it into our feature branch, not to master, because we're not ready for that. So we'll create a pull request and come back to it here in a minute. So say while I waited for that to build, I go back to my feature branch, and I'm like, dang it, there was something I was supposed to add. And so, actually that's not, well, yeah, we should be able to add some text, or, yeah. So, we should be able to add some text up here without having any sort of conflict with our pull request that we just opened. So say for instance we come up in here and we're like, I'm going to use this file for program with the example. We'll throw the link to the live stream. Okay, so we will add some scripted text to the README. So we'll add some text to the README and push that up. Alright, so let's come back to GitHub. We will want to open another pull request. Create pull request, not to master. Not to master. Into the feature branch. Yes, change the base. Okay. That would have botched my whole example. And that's not what I want. Alright, so coming back over here, and we have our insights, network. So we have our network graph now. And as you can see, we have our feature branch that we're based off of. And we've got this quick fix and this add more text. And so like I was saying at the start, we usually will merge the pull request instead of squashing or rebasing. We'll just create a merge commit. So let's merge these two. So add some proper punctuation, and then merge this one, add some more text. Okay, so now we come back to our network graph, and it looks kind of weird now. So we have our feature rebase this, and we deleted our branches when we merged because I have that box checked because it's awesome. I hate having branches laying around. Particularly since, as you can see, it's still possible to get at the commit. It's on the branch. So we have, here's where master is. Here's where we merge the first pull request. That had some proper punctuation. And here's where we merge the second one. Okay. I think that'll be enough to show off rebase-merges. So let's clear our screen out. And so we have our git rebase-i. This is a pretty standard, And I need to change my git here. I think it's git config. I'll just look it up. Git config git config dash core dot. So head to core let's pull it up in VS Code. Nope. Core data here no equals. And I think that'll work. So git rebase dash on. Okay, so let's put this on Vim because I like Vim more than now. Alright, so if you try and rebase with yourself, it just says nothing. So that's cool. Let's get rid of this huge error. We are finished with this, I think. And here we go. Alright, so clear this out under git log. So we have these 3 commits. That's because I haven't done git pull. So we will go back to feature this and do git pull. So that I actually have the things I merged over there. So we do git log now, and we have things. So it'll note that we have merge commits, and we have the actual commits, and if I do a git fetch dash prune, you'll note that it will delete these origin branches, and I'll still have my local copies, which is fine. Alright, so do that, and back to our git log. So we have our actual commits, as you can tell by the branches. Then here's the actual branch, and here's master. So, say for instance, we merged those pull requests, but we were supposed to merge them in the opposite order for some reason. That is where git rebase dash I dash rebase. So, say you want to do that with normal rebase, you'd grab the commit. So we're in interactive rebase to this commit, and it shows you, hey, there's these 2 commits. And with the normal rebase, you would pick them, obviously, but you could also swap them around. I used DD and then Shift P to do that. Quick swap. And so that will swap them around. So we'll do a quick git push origin. And if you put the name of your current branch, feature rebase this, and then the name of the branch you actually want, you have that. I want to pull this up and yank that off. I have another VS Code window with my actual site pulled up. But for now, I'm just going to make a folder in. Actually, we'll commit npm post, and for now we'll call it git rebase-merges. And we'll say that I want that to be done 2020 0327, I think. Hopefully that'll make the folder for me. Yes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pop open here. And I want to, I don't really want to screenshot it, but I kind of do. Yeah. Let's see. put that there. I think I need to use the actual Windows copy paste in order to get it here. Yes. So, I don't know if it'll actually let me do that, but no. I'll just say shell, because that'll get the comments correct. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I do want to keep this. So this is on and submit. Okay, so that's the window that'll pop up for an interactive rebase for some commit. Alright, so that's not too bad. And so you'll note, I think I already switched those. So, like I showed here, pushed up to example 1. So we should be able to refresh our network graph. And look at this funky thing now. So, if it'll let me zoom in on it. Alright, so it looks kind of funky because we have this commit and it now goes to 2 places. So this one goes beep beep over to feature, rebase this. But it also goes straight to example 1. Oh, way up. So example 1 and feature rebase this have this weird intertwining going on because they both have these 2 commits. They're just in opposite orders. Okay, but if you'll note on the feature rebase this, it has this extra dot. That's because there's a merge commit involved. So if we do this rebase again, but keep the merge commits, which will look quite fun. So if you add the rebase-merges option, it has to be before your hash here. Dash rebase-merges. I think maybe. Maybe my Git version is not new. 217.1. I didn't know this was on a new version of Git. Git rebase. It does have some pretty good docs, but you don't say when you were introduced. But if I look at 217.3, there is no rebase-merges. So somewhere in here they added it. I wonder if it's 222. It is. Alright. Well, now I figure out how to update Git. Git, maybe? I'm going to do this over on my other screen real quick. apt-get. Hopefully that goes pretty fast. While that's going on, I guess I can answer any questions that, if there is somebody here, they might have had. So, I have chat open if someone wants to ask me a question. But if not, I will just go along. Try to figure out how I can update Git. I guess I could Google it. Bring my screen back. Come on, from Google. Hey Ryan. how's it going? I'm trying to figure out how to update Git. It looks like I need to use act-get upgrade in my subsystem, which I should probably do more regularly than I do. But yeah, how's it going, right? Alright, let's see what version I have now. Still 2.17.1. Well, I don't want to have 2.17 apparently. So let's see. I do need to get core PPA. That sounds about right. Let's try that. Yes, that is the one I want to add. So, date. Yes, let's try that. Aha, there we go. So now we have the version of Git that we want, which is greater than 2222. So, Ryan, to fill you in a little bit, I'm working up an example for a blog post. Because today I ran into a rebase issue where I needed to keep the merge commits, and I had never run into that before, and I doubt very many people have. But the feature that I really liked was apparently not added until version 2.22. So I had to update. Anyway, so far I have this example repo, and I made 2 pull requests and merged them with merge commits. And so my network graph was much simpler before I rebased and lost my merge commits, because now it's really confused about where the commits are and what they point to. So if, for instance, I go to branches, since I have these locally, I don't really care, but you'll note that this one has 5 commits because it has the merge commits, and then this one has 3 commits. So if we delete this one, apparently I can come back and restore it. It should disappear from our network here. So now we have this nice linear merge commit history that lots of people like. But for whatever reason, let's restore that one and delete this one. At work, we have our commit history look more like this because somebody likes having merge commits in there instead of doing squashing or rebasing. I don't make the rules. Anyway, so in order to not confuse Bitbucket too much and make it possible to follow in the future, we needed to keep the merge commits for this specific instance. And I guess what I should probably do is add a couple more commits on this branch. so that it's a little easier to see. So say we had those two features at the same time. That's what this network graph is trying to show. I had two features that started from the same commit, and then they got merged in at different times, one right after the other. So let's go ahead and we are up to date here. We're just playing around in the README. So let's say later on we delete the sample text that we added and adjust some text. So remove sample text, and we want to be on a new branch when we do this. Apparently it thinks I'm behind. Guess I am behind. Why am I behind? Oh, because I did another rebase. Let's stash that real quick. Go back to master. Branch dash D. Feature with this. And capital D. Alright, and let's check that out so that I am not confusing myself more. Okay, so we pop our stash. B, so we're going to grab a new branch for this. Clarify text. Something simple. Text. Clarify. I don't really care about that 50 character limit because I'm the one that looks at these for the most part. So yeah, yes. So okay. I guess I could do empty commits, but that's less fun. So push that up. And the little trick a coworker taught me is at least you should be able to do that. Apparently I don't have a head, which concerns me. Oh, Windows is automatic, that works, this -u origin head. But I guess Windows is case specific and I'd have to capitalize it. But I don't want to try it right now. So clean this up a little bit. So we have this branch here. And let's go ahead and make a pull request. Probably could have named that better. Should have. Here's some text. And base is not master. Change the base. Alright, so merge this guy. Again, using a merge commit because that's how we merge into at least our feature branches. Haven't yet actually merged into master. And so back to our insights, our network graph. Lovely little thing that it is. So we have this little commit out here, and now we've merged it in. Okay, so our scenario that we're working with here is, say we were supposed to flip the order that these two features were merged. So part of the reason why we do merge commits is because the actual commit has a date and a time associated with it. Like this one, 24 minutes ago. But that doesn't always line up with when it was merged. In fact, it could even be a couple days removed from it. Here's just a couple minutes, but so that's why my coworkers like the merge commits, because they show clearly this pull request was merged before this one. Squashing also accomplishes that, but you do lose the original date that the commit was made, unless you do some fancy magic. Anyway, so we have our network graph here, and so this is the branch, and we want to reorder it so that this one was merged before that. And so what I was showing earlier, let's go back to features, this, pull. Alright, so let's get this bigger here. So rebase-i, grab that hash. So with a normal rebase interactive, I don't know why you would ever rebase non-interactive, but we just have the 3 commits that we made, and it automatically throws out the merge commits. And so that's what I was showing when you popped on. And so I guess I can grab this version of the example. I don't know that I need all of the rebase text anyways, so paste there. Alright, so I'm eventually going to write up a blog post because that's what I like more than videos, but other people like videos. Anyway, so to rebase, I don't. Hi Max, welcome to the stream. I guess it depends on what you call advanced Git. I find that the easiest way to learn something in Git is to actually need it, because there's a heck of a lot of features in Git that I've never used. So, for instance, heck, even with this rebase window, I don't know that I've ever had a need to exec a command while I've been rebasing. Some people probably do, but I have no idea how that works. I don't know why you're. I have caps lock. So, for instance, I've never needed that, and so I could learn how it works, but I wouldn't really remember it. And so, usually I recommend just trying to, I guess, learn something as you use it. So today, I did not want to have my rebase lose my merge commits, and so I learned that let's quit. Make sure I didn't screw that up. No, I definitely screwed that up. Okay. So when you rebase like that, you lose your merge commits. So if I go back to master and delete that branch, again, I wouldn't ever recommend doing more advanced Git stuff on master, but also a cool trick that'll help you be more comfortable learning more advanced Git stuff. I will show in a second. But yeah, I would not recommend trying to like sit down and learn advanced Git. I would recommend just using it at work, and if you run into something you don't know, throw out a tweet or ask in Discord chat or something. There's usually someone that's run into it. And worst case, Git has great documentation. This page, if you search Git rebase-merges, it pulls up the Git rebase documentation and merge commit. So I found the thing today by just searching merge commit on this documentation page, and it's like, by default, a rebase simply drops merge commits. And I was like, that doesn't help me. So I read more, and it was cool. So I guess being okay reading docs, even though they're kind of dense. Like, I still don't know what this ancestry path option is. Who knows? Pretty much just the people that write Git, probably. Anyway, so coming back over here, having remote versions of your branches is really helpful so that you can do more advanced things. And then if you want to do even more advanced things, I highly recommend this cool trick. So you can do git push to push up a branch to a remote version, and say you're playing with rebases and don't want to force push, because that's always a little bit scary. you can take, say, feature rebase this, the branch we're on, do a colon, and that will alias it to a different name. So you could say test. But apparent, oh, gotta make sure you put origin there, or the name of the remote. And so we're pushing feature rebase this over to test. And so you'll notice here in the output it says new branch, feature rebase this was pushed to test. And I'm pretty sure you can actually do a remote branch as well. It's like I could push origin, and then origin feature rebase this as remote test. But maybe not. And so when you come across an error, Max, highly recommend actually reading it. So the destination you provide is not a full ref name. And so it's trying to guess what I meant by that. So it's looking for a ref that matches remote test on the remote side. So you could learn about git refs. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But they usually do hints here. So the source part of the ref spec is a commit object. Did you mean to create a new branch by pushing to refs remote origin features rebase this? Not really. I was trying to alias. And so I'm going to stick with aliasing like I did up here, somewhere, right here, where I take a local branch and push it up as a different name to the remote. And so what that looks like up here is we should now have two branches pointing here. Yep, so we have test and feature rebase this. And let's go delete that other branch real quick. Let's keep our network graph where we want it. Alright, so in fact I will use that trick here in a second. So let's clear the screen. I wish... How's the font size for this, those of you watching? Is it good? Too small? Too big? Because I'm probably going to have to shrink it here in a second to fit the text that comes out. So we're going to do, hey Jacob. So we're going to try a rebase merges to see what that looks like. Alright. Okay, so if you do rebase merges, again, without a commit, rebase doesn't do anything. But, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. What did that even do? Oh good, I got mad at me. Alright. I need my commit hash back. So, we're going to go T5941F. Let's do it. So, git rebase rebase merges. And I don't remember what it is. D5941F3. D5941. Alright, so rebase merges adds some new things to your interactive rebase, and they are sweet. Sadly, it does not explain any of them down here at the bottom. I don't know why. So let us go through it. So we've got the documentation right here. So it does say, see also this rebasing merges in big red, big bold text. So we search for that to jump to it. So we're gonna glance through this for a second. So it tells us essentially why we need this, because the interactive rebase ignores them. But we want to keep the topology. So our example here is we're wanting to flip the order of these two. So that merges the second one before the first. Okay, so now I guess you can do this fancy thing. Let's grab a new terminal and see what that looks like for our repo. Yeah, I think I like the GitHub version better. I think. I don't know what this -5 is, so let's take that off. Oh, there we go. Apparently -5 means we're only going to see the most recent 5 commits. I guess that makes a little more sense. So you couldn't see before, but now you can. We had a starting commit on the branch, did a commit on a branch, merge that one, did a commit on a branch, merge that one, but these 2 branches were off the same starting commit, not linear, as most people like to have. Okay, so coming back here, there's their example. Okay, so this is their example here, and it talks about the 3 new things that there are. So the label command gives you a label, kind of nice, basically a branch. I don't entirely know what a work tree local ref is, but from what I understand, it basically is something that is temporary for the rebase, that is like a branch, but not a whole branch. Reset is like using reset to go back to the label, but will not get rid of things. Merge is what you'd expect. It creates a merge commit. So let's go back to our terminal here. So we've got label, reset, and then we have our merges. So they're about to tell us that capital C keeps the original commit, and if we wanted to change it, we could do a lowercase c. I don't want to change it right now. It'll always be recursive. Doesn't really matter to me. Again, I haven't needed to use a different strategy. And I don't have a desire to introduce new merge commits. Excuse me. So as a heads up, if your Git version is less than 2.22, you would have to use preserve merges with interactive, but it doesn't work correctly apparently, because it'll do this instead of what you actually wanted of switching them. So upgrade. Good reason to. Okay, so now that we know ish what those do, so label, we're saying onto, this is the spot that we're going back to, and then reset, make sure there's nothing in the working directory basically. And then we want to pick this commit, and it does give us these comments here of the branch that we're on, and then later actually says, hey, this is where that branch ended. Okay, so then we made another branch based off the starting point, had a commit, actually finished that branch basically. And so then we go back to the starting spot, we merge one, merge the second, and then move on from there. We're not touching anything beyond that. But yeah, that's pretty neat. So in this case, we could switch these two, the actual branch creations, but that doesn't actually accomplish anything because they're based off the same commit. So really, all we want to change here is we want to merge that one first. And so if we write that out, it's successfully rebased, and we are going to use that pushing to a different branch. So feature rebase this. We want to go to test. And so it should push it up to test for us. Come back to our graph here, and it'll look funky because they're totally different. But it looks like GitHub tries to keep them relatively the same. So let us do the log. And go back to master and go to test. we're going to delete our local version of rebase this because test is now it. And so let's grab that git log command. Oh, I lost it. Oh well, let's see if it's here. There we go. Okay, so this is, that's actually what I wanted. So here is the example now, and so you'll note on test down here, we merge pull request number 2 first, and then merge pull request number 1. And over here we check down feature rebase this, clear that, and do log. So we went using the rebase-merges option. We were able to switch those. And we didn't have to move around all of the commits inside the branch, we just had to switch the order in which they were merged. So I think that's pretty handy. There's a couple other things you could accomplish with that, but I noticed that I forgot to do the thing that I came here for, which was actually get the output for a blog post. So let's grab that output, come over to my draft blog post and paste it in, and okay, I do need, that should say, yeah, basically nothing. I don't know why you're confused. I do want the command that I used. Take out my command tag. Alright. Did anyone have questions or things that surprised them? Things I could talk about more? Also, I wasn't even paying attention. Did the chat pop up like it was supposed to over on the left side of the screen? Oh, okay. Cool. Maybe I don't have that here. Oh. Yeah, it looks like it's there. At least I hope it's there. Cool. I don't know if there's a better place for it. If you have an idea, please share. I guess it's easier to notice it on this screen because there's not much else to look at. I didn't really want to try and have it over my actual working area. So. But Jacob, it looks like you're the only one here. So if you don't have any questions or comments, then I'll probably sign off here because it's already 11:15. I should go to sleep. Cool. Thanks for dropping in, Jacob. Yeah, I quite liked it. I guess I should make an ending scene. I don't know. I haven't done very much streaming yet, so I haven't really put time into it. You have a nice night too. Bye.